I wish I could point to a single moment, an argument, a cruel insult, some obvious breaking point, but there wasn't one. That's not how real heartbreak works. It doesn't crash through your front door, it seeps in slowly, like a leak in the attic you don't notice until the ceiling gives way. We'd been married almost 7 years. No kids, and that was intentional. We both agreed early on careers came first. We traveled together, had regular date nights, worked out, checked all the boxes you're supposed to. I thought we were doing fine. Not perfect, but better than most. But something changed. I didn't catch it at first. Around the time she landed her big promotion and life started returning to normal after the pandemic, things started feeling off. The closeness was the first to go. She started turning in early, claiming work had her drained. "Not tonight, babe," she'd say with a peck on the forehead. No big deal. That happens, right? But the weeks dragged on. Then it was months. No more touching, not even the casual stuff, no hand on my shoulder when she passed, no leaning into each other on the couch, no random brush of her hand in the car. Just distance. Like a silent wall had gone up and I didn't even notice it being built. One night, I brought it up. We were on the back deck, splitting a bottle of red wine. I kept it light, just asked if everything was all right between us. She didn't seem upset, just gave me this calm smile and said I was overanalyzing. Then she dropped it, "We're just evolving. Not every relationship needs to stay physical. It's less pressure this way." Less pressure? That line stuck with me for days. I didn't get angry right away. I got self-conscious. Maybe I wasn't meeting her needs. Maybe she was overwhelmed. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I talked to her more. Tried to connect. Suggested counseling. Even found a therapist a friend swore by. She agreed, then canceled. Twice. Said her calendar was slammed. That's when the late-night wake-ups started. Chest tight, heart racing. Not from missing her touch, but from not understanding what was happening. She was right there, sleeping next to me. Same face, same voice. But everything else felt wrong. We still talked about errands, work stuff, her mom's recovery from surgery. But the moment I tried to bring up us, she'd deflect, change the subject, or act like I was making drama out of nothing. Eventually, I just stopped trying. What hurt the most wasn't the missing intimacy, it was how the silence had become our default. She was still polite, still laughed at my dumb jokes, still brewed my coffee if she beat me to the kitchen. But it was like living with a kind stranger. There was no warmth, no effort, no real connection left. Then something shifted about a month after our 6th anniversary. We'd marked it with a half-hearted dinner and separate showers, more like roommates than anything else. I didn't change, but she did. Out of nowhere, she seemed lighter. Almost satisfied. She started staying late at work, claimed things were hectic. Put on lipstick again. Bought brand new gym gear. Suddenly she was hitting a 6 a.m. Pilates class downtown, even though she used to make fun of that kind of thing. "I just want to feel good in my body again," she said when I asked. And I told her I supported that. I meant it too. You want your partner to feel good, to feel confident. But then came this one moment that cut deeper than anything. It was early, both of us half awake, headed for coffee in the kitchen. I reached out to brush her hair behind her ear, something simple and familiar, a gesture I'd done 100 times before. And she flinched. Just barely. Not like she was scared, more like she was dodging a bug. She caught herself and forced a smile. "Sorry," she mumbled, "I'm just a little on edge." That's when reality slapped me in the face. We hadn't been us for a long time. And it wasn't me holding back anymore, I was just the only one still pretending we could fix it. So I asked her. Set her down, no games, no build-up. I asked her straight, "Is this what you want now? A marriage with no connection, no affection? Is this really how you see our future?" She didn't even blink. "Yes," she said. "I think the constant pressure to be everything for each other, that's what's toxic. I feel so much freer now. I can finally just be me without the expectation of touch or closeness." I didn't even need to ask. She offered the answer anyway. Some people just grow out of that phase. I'm at peace now. And that's when I knew. What she called peace. It wasn't peace, it was absence. She wasn't trying to rebuild anything. She just accepted the wreckage and decided to decorate it. And she wanted me to do the same. So I went quiet. Not out of anger, out of preparation. When things break in my life, I don't yell. I get focused. I make a plan. From the outside, nothing changed. We still had coffee in the mornings. Still did takeout Fridays. Still watched that ridiculous cooking show she liked. But I stopped reaching out. No more little touches. No more trying. I gave her exactly what she asked for, a marriage without closeness. And for a while she looked relieved, like a weight had been lifted. Most mornings, she started getting up before me. I'd hear the shower running before sunrise. Thought I was still asleep, but I wasn't. I'd lay there, eyes open, listening. Sometimes I'd catch a glimpse of her at the mirror. Fresh leggings, light makeup, humming to herself as she dabbed on mascara, like she had somewhere special to be at 6:30 in the morning. She never used to do that when we were close. Back when there was still warmth between us, she got dressed for me. Now it felt like she was rehearsing a new role, like she was getting ready for someone else, even if she couldn't admit it out loud yet. I tried not to spiral. Told myself this was probably just her way of healing. People reinvent themselves in weird ways, especially after emotional droughts. But still, that part of me, the part that notices patterns and reads the unspoken, kept tugging at something. Her phone used to be an afterthought. Now it was locked, turned face down on the table during dinner. Late-night texts came in and she'd smile at the screen, saying, "Oh, that's just Maya from Pilates." Maya, a name I'd never heard until recently. She said it so casually, like it had always been part of the script. But then I remembered something from earlier that year. She'd gone on this long rant about a friend, someone who had cheated and left her husband. She was livid. Said things like, "If you're done, be done. Don't string someone along just to have a safety net." It stuck with me because it sounded like a moral line she'd never cross. Now, I wasn't so sure. One night I caved, broke my own rule. I checked our shared Google Calendar. She used to log everything in there: Pilates classes, conference calls, coffee dates. It was her thing. That night, completely blank. I felt like I was fumbling around in a pitch-black house, searching for a light switch. I didn't have access to her phone, but I did have the router info. So I checked. Nothing shady, just her usual devices. And one that didn't belong. An iPad. Hadn't seen that before. Wasn't there a month ago. I waited a few days. Kept it cool. Asked casually if her job gave her any new tech for work. She hesitated, not long, but just enough. Then she nodded. "Yeah, a tablet. For scheduling travel stuff." She said it like it was nothing. Except she never traveled. Not that I knew of. My mind wouldn't stop spinning. What if this wasn't just emotional distance? What if she'd already filled that gap with someone else, while I stayed here, loyal, hopeful, trying to patch something that had already been replaced? I gave it one more try. Needed to be wrong. We were folding laundry side by side, not saying much. I asked, "Do you ever feel like we're not really talking anymore?" She didn't even look up, just shrugged and said, "We've said everything already. Now we just live it." That hit me like a punch in the ribs. I picked up one of her black dress shirts, the one she never wore around me, the one that had suddenly become part of her weekly wardrobe. I folded it neatly like we were still playing house, still sticking to the script. Same cues, same blocking, lights low enough to hide the cracks. But I wasn't blinded anymore. I was looking behind the curtain. And then came the twist I didn't see coming: her sister. We were never close. I always felt like she saw me as dull, maybe too tame for her taste. We hadn't had a real conversation in years. So when she reached out, I knew something was off. It started with something simple, a photo I posted from a solo hike. Just me, a trail, and the view. A moment of quiet. A break from pretending. That night, her sister messaged me out of the blue. "Nice view. You're looking different lately. You okay?" I replied with something neutral. "Just getting some fresh air. Nothing more." Then came the line that stopped me cold. "You know, I've been trying to stay out of it, but it's not okay what she's doing. Just don't let her play you. What she's doing. Not how she's acting. Not what she's feeling. Doing." I stared at that message for a full minute, maybe more. She hadn't meant to say that much, I could tell. And I didn't press for more. I didn't need to. Her silence after that told me everything. That was the moment I let go. No dramatic fight. No emotional showdown. Just a quiet decision. If she wanted a marriage with no connection, she could have it, just not with me in it. The real gut punch in betrayal isn't the act itself. It's looking back and realizing how long it's been happening. How many of her smiles were forced. How many late nights at work were rehearsed lies. How many times she'd already said goodbye with her body while pretending to still be here. After that message from her sister, I didn't explode. I didn't confront. I just paid attention. The kind of quiet, focused attention you only learn from living in silence for too long. That's when I started seeing things I'd overlooked. How she came home from those meetings freshly perfumed. How her gym bag was always neatly packed but never actually used. How a second phone had suddenly appeared for work, she said, but it always stayed in the car like it couldn't risk being inside. She thought she was careful. But when you share a home, you learn someone's rhythm. And I could hear the melody changing. Then came the slip. Thursday afternoon. She rushed through the door, breathless, saying she'd forgotten her badge for a downtown conference. Her hair was slightly messy, her cheeks were flushed. I handed her the badge, kissed her cheek, and caught a faint scent of aftershave. Not mine. That night, she slept like a rock, deep, easy breathing. Peaceful. Like her conscience had nothing to answer for. I lay beside her, wide awake, my heart burning quietly under the weight of knowing. The next morning, I texted an old college buddy who now worked in digital forensics. I told him I needed help accessing and backing up data from a second device on our home network. No explanation. He didn't ask. A week later, I had everything. She wasn't sneaking around with a stranger. She wasn't exploring something new. She had gone back. Back to Nathan, the extern client she used to see before we met. The one who supposedly moved states away. The one she swore was just being friendly when his name popped up once during our engagement. Turns out Nathan had never been gone. Just benched. Stored away for later like a fallback plan. Something to revisit once she got bored of me. I didn't need to read everything, just enough. Enough to see her words. It's different with you. I don't have to explain myself. He just doesn't get it. Sharing a bed with him feels like sleeping next to a houseplant. I didn't feel rage. I didn't even cry. I just felt still. Completely, terrifyingly still. Like my body exhaled and forgot how to breathe again. There was no yelling. No slamming doors. Just clarity. She hadn't cut off affection because she was lost or overwhelmed. She'd done it because she found someone else to plug the gap. All that emotional distance she called growth was just a cover while she was out meeting her needs during lunch breaks and late-night hotel check-ins. And the message that burned the longest? It wasn't graphic. Wasn't even cruel. Just simple, devastating. He's the kind of man you marry. But you make me feel alive. That's when it clicked. She was right, I was the kind of man you marry. And I wasted far too long trying to be good enough for someone who didn't deserve me in the first place. So, no, I didn't lose it. I didn't blow up her world in one dramatic scene. I got methodical. I collected everything, screenshots, timestamps, location pings, all quietly passed along to my old college friend. He packaged the evidence into a neat, encrypted file. I backed it up 3 times and put the drive away. Then I got moving. Called a lawyer. Met with a realtor. Had lunch with a financial advisor. I'd already checked out of the relationship emotionally. Now I was mapping the exit strategy for everything else. She had no clue. She still thought I was next to her at night, hanging on, waiting for scraps. What she didn't know was that I'd already stepped off the sinking ship. I was dry. I was rebuilding. And she wasn't in the blueprint. But I wasn't going to vanish. That would have been too easy. People like her, they rewrite the story fast. Flip the script so they come out the victim. He left me. He couldn't handle who I really was. He walked away from us. No. I wasn't giving her that story. So I stayed. Not to punish. Not to fight. Just to exist long enough for her to see the hole she carved out and filled with nothing. I went silent. Not the cold shoulder kind of silence, just the kind that signals you're done speaking because nothing more needs to be said. I got up early. Went running before dawn. Took weekend trips to help a friend or visit family. I smiled more. Was more helpful. I folded laundry without her asking. Wiped the counters clean. I became efficient. Distant but polite. No anger. No accusations. Just presence without connection. And she noticed. Of course she did. She started changing her tune. The bedroom door, once shut like a boundary, began staying open after her workouts. She started sitting next to me on the couch instead of picking the opposite corner. One night during a movie, she even reached for my hand. I let her hold it for about 5 seconds, then got up and poured myself a drink. She didn't ask why. She didn't have to. She knew. The cracks were starting to show. I've been thinking, she said one night, curling up next to me in bed like it was something she hadn't done in nearly a year. Maybe we should get away. Just the two of us. A weekend somewhere. I looked at her. Nodded. Maybe. That was all I gave her. A maybe. Another night. She lingered in the kitchen after dinner, half a glass of red wine in her hand, swirling it the way she used to back when dates meant something. Back when that look in her eyes was real. "I feel like we're starting to find our rhythm again," she said, voice low, eyes searching mine. I didn't agree. I didn't argue. I didn't offer her anything. And that silence, it rattled her. She started second-guessing herself. All those polished smiles began to slip. For once, I wasn't dancing to the emotional beat she set. I wasn't scrambling to fix what she broke. I wasn't holding the rope anymore. While she tried to rewind our script, I was finishing the paperwork. My lawyer was sharp, helped me outline a clean separation, documented everything, made sure the financials were locked tight. My buddy, the same one who pulled the data, pointed me toward a realtor. We had the house appraised. I filed my share to be sold. No drama, no revenge, just closure. When it was time to act, I didn't throw a scene. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. One Sunday morning, after pancakes, I handed her an envelope. She smiled when she saw me walking toward her. Probably thought it was a card, maybe some romantic gesture, something hopeful. It wasn't. She opened it. Read the first page. Then the second. Read it again. Slower this time. Her face shifted. What is this?" I didn't answer right away. Took a sip of coffee. Sat down across from her. Let the silence sink in just enough to sting. "It's the life you said you wanted," I said quietly. Her lips parted like she was going to respond, but nothing came out. "This isn't a fight," I continued. "I'm not angry. I'm not punishing you. I just finally believe you. You said we're better without intimacy. So I'm giving you exactly that." Her hand trembled as she set the paper down. "I didn't mean you," she whispered. I cut her off gently. "Maybe not in words, but your actions, they were fluent." And just like that, the script was finished. I heard every sentence she never spoke. The tears came, not loud, not theatrical. Just slow, bitter drops. The kind that only fall when there's no turning back. She whispered, "I thought you didn't know." I tilted my head. "Didn't know what?" She froze. Couldn't answer. And for a moment we both just sat there, the air thick with the words we'd both been avoiding for far too long. I stood, placed my mug in the sink, and walked toward the door. "I'll be staying with a friend for a while," I said. "Everything you need is in the envelope. Lawyer's info, the paperwork. No pressure, there's no rush to sign anything today." She said my name softly behind me. I didn't turn around, just grabbed my keys and stepped outside, letting the door shut behind me. Not slammed, just closed. Finally and peacefully closed. She didn't sign the papers that week. Didn't call either. I expected one or the other. Instead, she gave me silence, like we were in some strange standoff, like she couldn't figure out if this was real or just some elaborate bluff. But what she didn't get was that I wasn't angry. I wasn't making a point. I was finished. I stayed at a college buddy's place. Quiet apartment. Clean routines. No tension. No guessing games. I slept better than I had in years. The kind of sleep you forget is possible when you're waiting night after night for affection that never shows up. I started running longer, cooking again, reading books that had collected dust for too long. Even picked up my old guitar. At first, my fingers fumbled. Then they remembered. Then they sang. The silence that used to echo like loss now made room for music. She texted twice that first week. "Can we talk?" 2 days later, "I'm not ready to give up. Please." I didn't reply, not out of spite, just clarity. She hadn't offered me honesty when it mattered. She hadn't offered me presence. Why should I give her what she withheld for months? By the third week, her sister called again. "She's not doing well," she said. "Shows up to family dinners crying. Says she messed everything up. Says she wants to fix it." I just listened. Then her sister said something that stuck. "You always loved her more than she earned. Maybe now she finally gets that. Maybe she always did." I thanked her. Hung up. The next night, there was a knock at my friend's door. It was her. No makeup. Hoodie and jeans. Her face was pale, eyes swollen. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. She opened her mouth like she'd been rehearsing the words the whole way over. "I don't even know where to start," she said. "Then don't," I replied. She tried to laugh, but it cracked halfway through. "You always had a way of making silence sound like a sentence." I stepped outside and pulled the door closed behind me. We stood together under the dim porch light, yellow and quiet. "I miss you," she said. "I miss us." I nodded. "I believe that." "I wasn't thinking clearly," she said. "I thought I needed something else to feel alive." "You did," I told her. "And now you get to live with that choice." She swallowed hard. "It wasn't real with him." "Didn't need to be," I said. "It was real enough to wreck what we had." Her eyes searched mine, desperate. "Don't you miss me? Don't you miss this?" I paused. "I miss who you were," I said. "And I miss who I was when I loved you. But whatever this is now, no, I don't miss this." Tears ran down her cheeks as she reached for my hand. I didn't recoil. I just didn't give it to her. "You once said we're better without intimacy," I reminded her, voice steady. "Turns out we're better without the illusion of love too." I stepped back. She didn't follow. Just stood there, still, quiet, the weight of what she'd thrown away finally landing on her shoulders. "Take care of yourself," I said. And then I went inside. She didn't knock again. Weeks passed. The house sold faster than I expected. The divorce was clean signed, filed, done. I heard through her sister that Nathan ghosted her not long after she confessed she'd been married the entire time. Guess he wasn't looking for that kind of mess. Funny how that works. She reached out again after that, an email, a voicemail, even an actual handwritten letter. I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Just because some people need closure and others need silence to understand what they lost. I don't hate her. I'm not bitter. I just outgrew the version of me that would have waited around for someone who'd already checked out long ago. Yeah? I live simpler but deeper. Got a place of my own. A small circle of friends. A few new ones, too. I walk without needing a destination. I write again. I play guitar on Saturday nights at a quiet little cafe. I've gone on a few dates. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open. That's the part no one tells you about losing someone who never really chose you. It doesn't break you. It releases you. Because one day you wake up and realize you were never hard to love. They just weren't built to carry what you were offering. And now? Now I save that love for someone who'll never ask me to live without it again.